When you live in a neighborhood with an HOA, you expect some rules. Maybe your grass can't be higher than 6 inches. Maybe you have to bring your trash bins in by the end of the day. Fine. Annoying, but fine. But when your HOA president is a racist Sarah with too much power, rules stop being about community. They become weapons. Before I go further, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to Voices Unchained and hit that like button. We drop stories like this all the time, and you won't want to miss the next one. Sarah had been gunning for me since the day I moved in. At first, it was little jabs. Your grass looks a little wild, don't you think? Those trash cans should be behind a gate. Didn't you read the bylaws? The kicker? Other neighbors did the exact same things. White neighbors. Their bins were visible, their grass grew long, and nobody got fined. But me? I'd find a violation slip taped to my door almost weekly. It escalated. She suspended me from using the community pool. I walked in one day with my daughter, only to be stopped by Sarah herself, clutching her little clipboard like a weapon. Sorry, she said with that smirk. You're suspended. Suspended? For what? I asked. Repeated violations of community standards. Some people just don't fit in here. She stared at me when she said it. Those words dripping with that "you don't belong" venom. My daughter squeezed my hand, confused. I swallowed my anger and walked away. But the final straw wasn't the pool. It was my mail. Important bills started disappearing. A birthday card my mother sent never arrived. Even a package containing medication was missing. I thought maybe it was a mistake, until my neighbor Dave pulled me aside one evening. Hey man, I probably shouldn't even say this, but I've seen Sarah by your mailbox a few times. Middle of the day, just hanging around. That's when the anger hardened into something else. A plan. I ordered a small GPS tracker online, the kind people use to keep tabs on pets. Then I prepped a decoy letter, a plain white envelope addressed to me, stuffed with nothing but folded paper and the tracker hidden inside. I made sure it looked legit, stamped, and sealed. Then I angled my Ring camera perfectly to catch the mailbox. I slid the decoy in with my real mail and waited. It didn't even take 48 hours. The following morning, just before noon, Sarah strutted down the street. She glanced around like a cartoon villain, then opened my mailbox. She sifted through the envelopes, plucked the decoy, and shoved it into her oversized purse. What she didn't know was that the whole thing was on video, her face clear as day, and the tracker pinged her exact location minutes later, her living room, sitting cozy with my mail. I laughed out loud. Gotcha. I could have confronted her. I could have marched over and screamed, I caught you! But no, not this time. She humiliated me in front of my daughter, tried to isolate me from the community, and weaponized the HOA against me just because of the color of my skin. So instead, I went bigger. I compiled everything, the Ring footage, the GPS tracker logs, the pattern of missing mail. Then I called the U.S. Postal Inspector's office. Tampering with mail isn't a slap-on-the-wrist violation. It's a federal crime. The inspector I spoke to, a guy named Morales, sounded interested immediately. You're telling me you have her on video opening your mailbox? Close quote. Clear as day, I said. And you've got the decoy with a tracker? Yep, tracker pinged her house 5 minutes after she stole it. He whistled. That's solid. We'll take it from here. A week later, they made their move. And oh, it was glorious. It was mid-afternoon, right when most neighbors were home. Sarah was outside pruning her roses like she owned the block. Then 2 postal inspectors and 2 police officers pulled up. They didn't knock politely. They approached her directly. Ma'am, are you Sarah Whitmore? One inspector asked. Close quote. Yes, I'm the HOA president. What seems to be the prob? We have a warrant for your arrest. Mail theft. Her jaw dropped. What? This is ridiculous. I'm the HOA president. I have authority. Close quote. Neighbors started peeking. Dave stepped onto his porch. The Johnsons came down their driveway. People gathered. The officers cuffed her right there on her perfect lawn. She thrashed and screamed. This is harassment. That man set me up. He doesn't belong here anyway. Close quote. Her words hung in the air. Ugly. Raw. Everyone heard them. And for the first time, the neighborhood saw her mask slip completely. By that evening, the story was everywhere. Group chats lit up. Ring videos circulated like wildfire. People who'd been silent finally spoke. Sarah fined me for painting my shutters. She threatened to tow my car for parking in front of my own house. She told me my kids were too loud in the pool. Within a week, the HOA board held an emergency meeting. The vote was unanimous. Sarah was stripped of her presidency. When I walked back into the pool with my daughter, there were no smirks, no power plays. Just a couple of neighbors who nodded and said quietly, "Glad you're here, man." Sarah ended up facing federal charges for mail theft. She tried to plead that it was part of her HOA duties, but the judge wasn't having it. She got slapped with fines, probation, and a reputation she'd never shake. As for me, I reinforced my mailbox in concrete, so solid it could stop a truck. Every time I walk past it, I smile. She wanted to remind me I didn't belong. Instead, the whole neighborhood was reminded. Racism, lies, and abuse of power don't belong here. And Sarah, she's the one who's finally been suspended, not from a pool, but from her little kingdom, her pride, and her freedom. Thanks for listening to this story on Voices Unchained. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts.